Namaskar everyone. I feel very honored to be here in this beautiful city and on this lovely and glorious stage of TED. To be frank, even I don't know what I had to speak. The same thing, that monkey thing which he was mentioning, was happened to me. I was traveling in Europe. Yesterday only I landed, and when I was in India, when I got to know about this TED thing, I thought I will plan something in Europe. When I was there, I was too busy. Then I thought that, okay, I will plan something in my flight on the way to coming to India. It's a long flight. When I was in the flight, I was too tired. I just fall asleep. I think that was the best preparation I did for TED Talk. And then I reached yesterday. Then I was jet lagged. I thought, okay, I will do something. I will think about something. And then you know what happened? Tragedy. I again fall asleep. Last night I was awake for the whole night because of the time difference. And what I was doing, I thought, let me write something, let me think of speaking something. But I would just start doing my Facebook and Twitter about writing about my experience, which I recently had in the festivals in Europe. I just came here very blank. And I think when something is blank, then only you can fill it. When something is empty, when you have a plain paper, then only you can write something. For me, speaking is just like when you're in the kitchen. You have the same ingredients, but whenever you go, with the same ingredients, you just cook something new. Reading, understanding life is just buying the ingredients, sabji, masale, and all that from the market. When you are on the stage, it is just like that kitchen when you are cooking something new. So, generally when you hear about a monk or a spiritual leader or a guru, there's a very general story which you will find in everybody's life. That they're born and brought up in a very ordinary family. Few were very rebellious, just didn't like the style of life that their family were leading. Few were misled by their friends and they went to some of their horrible phases of the life. They started drugs. Some were hippies. Some were something, this and that. The same story was there. And then something happened to them which inspired them and bring them to spirituality. A tragedy happened and then they found some solution and they came to spirituality. Or everything was fine and then some kind of inspiration came and they got them to spirituality. For example, one of my very good friend, he's from Germany. So he went to take a dinner on a very nice fine dining restaurant. He ordered, must be non-vegetarian food, I'm definitely sure. So when he ordered, it was taking, because it's a fine dine, you know what does fine dine means? If it's taking long time to serve, that means we're sitting in a fine dining restaurant. If it's like instant, dhabi. If it's just 2 minutes, dhabi. If it's taking at least 45 minutes, you're sitting in a very reputed restaurant. So he was waiting there for the food to come. And he looked at the nice bouquet, which was just there in front of him in the middle of the table, very beautifully decorated. He just thought, such a nice, wonderful, fragrant flowers. If these flowers are so beautiful, the person who have created these flowers, how beautiful he would be. And then inspiration came and he became a monk. So sometime in a normal life, some inspiration came and few people came into spirituality, became spiritual. Or they realized their ownness, the reality which was residing inside them. Many of them was the tragedy. Some kind of big problems were happening in the life. Nothing was right. They were struggling. Nothing was coming up. The pains were there, and then some kind of relief they found. They visited some realized personality, some mystic, or to a temple, or by reading something, whatever. I'm talking about spirituality, not the culture inheritance. But with me, it's a little different. It was actually the other way around. I born in a very spiritual family. The reputation, the surname only carries a lot of weight. People want to be spiritual. They were coming to our family to understand the spirituality. I'm coming from a very religious city, Vrindavan. I think the city, the overall area of the city is about 6 or 7 kilometers. But it has more than 3,000 temples. I would say there are no homes, only the temples. Everything is happening in the temple only. If you just think about it, you will feel a little terrible. But everywhere is just the temples. So I came from that city. And also the family where I have inherited this lineage of an Acharya. I'm the 38th Acharya of this generation. I remember I holded this mic. I gave my first public speech when I was 7-year-old. 7-year-old. I didn't know how to switch it on or something. I just closed my eyes and said whatever. And people were so happy. They said, it's cute. That was it was just the best thing to weigh out of that public speaking fear, because I was a small child. So whatever I can say, they say it's cute, because I was the child. So this was my life story. Another thing which happened with me, I will come to the point later on why I'm saying all this. Talking about myself, I got this inspiration here only with my previous speakers. They were also talking about their life. I said, why should I leave the league? I should follow the tradition of this TED talk. So another thing what happened with me, that I studied in a convent school. My primary education was in a very convent school, and only one Christian Methodist school in such a Hindu religious city, Vrindavan. Teachers, they look Indian, but their name, somebody named David, they look Indian, very much Indian. Language was even, few are talking about Braj Bhasha. Kaisa re? Kahego dairi ke? That's the language. Very beautiful, very poetic language. The new film, this toilet, they all recorded they shooted this whole film in Braj only, in Nandagaon. So you can see the language. If you have watched the movie, it's great. If not, you can see. You will like the place, I hope. I hope. So what happened? Because it was a convent school and struggling to establish in a city which was very much influenced by other tradition. So they were also very much orthodox about their culture, about their teachings. You even cannot put a picture of any of our God, I would say the right word, gods. Because we are fortunate, we have many, we can choose any one of them. It's a great thing. This is what we call the independency. It's just coming up 3 days after. So, they were very strong. So I've seen generally people taking birth in the normal families, they want to learn about the spirituality. But my childhood playground was in ashram. I took birth in ashram. I lived in ashram. My father was the Acharya. Today I'm wearing his dhoti only, which he used to wear. to get his blessings to speak here. So this was my life. I've seen that very deep tradition, what a monk wants to achieve. Living in a family. They generally get the sannyas and get renounced, but I just, living in the family, I did it. So, and then the another tradition, studying in a convent school. Another thing which was happened with me, that my father was truly an inspiring personality. And my great-grandfather, if you talk to any of the spiritual leader of India, if you take the name of my grandfather, he will definitely recognize. Pujapat Sri Pundrik Goswami is a great writer, great poet, great speaker, freedom fighter. So, because of all of them, they sent me to England to study for some time. But when I was there, something happened, that at the age of 48, my father left. Just after 6 months, my grandfather left. I had to come back in between. Now the thing is, this whole big tradition, lineage, parampara, the right word which we call parampara, thousands of disciples, millions, many followers were there. So I had to come back from England. It is one time, I want to say, I born and brought up in a religious place, but I would say when I became spiritual, there's a slight difference between being religious and being spiritual. My father falls sick, and just in Mumbai, he stayed for 10 days and he left his body. We were bringing him back in an air ambulance. At that time, that personal charter takes about 3 hours from Mumbai to Delhi. But if you take a Boeing plane, a normal Jet Airways, or at that time it was Kingfisher, now the owner is already flew away. He's not running any more flights. So I was there in that plane, in that flight, and it took 2 hours. I was talking to myself. Because I had the responsibility now. People were looking at me. The whole world was looking at me. They were judging that, is he capable to sit on the seat? Will he able to do anything? He is very young. At that time I was only 20-year-old. Will he able to do it? At those 2 hours, my phone was silent. You know, this is the biggest monster you keep with you, I'll tell you. It is also a good thing, but definitely big monster. God gave us 11 indriyas, 11 senses, and this is the 12th sense which we have created. Without it, it feels like that we are incomplete. But the problem is, if it rings, it's a problem, and I'm giving a TED talk. And if it rings in the middle, people will look at you, hey, what happened? You made a big mistake. And if it doesn't ring for 2 hours, you will see if the network is okay or any problem is there. So my phone was switched off. People who were traveling with me, they're tired of crying, so they fall asleep. Everybody was crying. It's a sad moment of the family, and especially for all the people who were following this seat, this gadi, this parampara. So I was alone at that time. I was talking to myself for those 2 hours. I wouldn't say that flight was from Mumbai to Delhi. I would say that flight was from religiousness to spiritualness. That flight was from unknown to known, ignorance to some bit of the knowledge, some bit of being realized. So I talked to myself and I prepared myself. And while preparing, I thought of 4 things which bring me here today. Making me, even after being, I would say, the youngest speaker here, only 28 now. Oh, so now. Oh, excellent, excellent. So I have many young sisters, brothers. First time I'm feeling very old. So at that time, these four things, even after, okay, whatever, a bit older speaker, I get a bit older speaker, got this opportunity to speak here. And what made me do it? Four things I still remember. How should I plan my life? First thing, everybody, when I was looked at few TED videos and even the previous speaker, everybody making some kind of formulas. He said TRAA, and many others do that. At that time, I actually applied the formula. First thing which brought me here is actually one, making a decision. When you want a success in your life, first thing you have to make a decision. What you want to do. First D is decision. And when you are making a decision, that's the time when a spirituality is very much needed. Right? At the time of making decision, if you think about others also, that's the time that will make you spiritual. I would like to say one thing in Hindi. मैं खुश रहूं, आप खुश रहो. ये मनुष्य की प्रकृति है. आप दुखी रहो, मैं सुखी रहूं. ये मनुष्य की विकृति है. पर मैं थोड़ा दुखी हो जाऊं, आप सब सुखी रहो. ये भारत की संस्कृति है. This is what needed to be applied while making a decision. Second thing is the deeds. Third thing is discipline to fulfill your decision. And fourth thing is the dedication. I finally understood what spirituality means. It's very simple. It's nothing big that you have to wear some kind of clothes and this and that. I found out the body made up of 5 elements: water, ether, air. In Hindi we say Prithvi, Jal, Tej, Vayu, Akash. But we have to understand what the qualities these 5 elements has. If you inculcate those 5 qualities into your life, no matter who you are, a business person or a sports person, I would say before becoming a sport person, you will become a human. Thank you very much.